We have a habit of treating spirituality like a vending machine. We put in our good behavior, our prayers, or our attendance, and we expect God to dispense quick fixes, life hacks, or a spectacular sign right on cue. The second chapter of the Gospel of John targets this exact flaw. In 25 verses, it documents two famous and seemingly contradictory events. First, a quiet, joyous miracle at a wedding, where water turns to wine. Then, shortly after, a violent, public clearing of a religious temple with a handmade whip. But the chapter ends with a paradox. Even after seeing Jesus perform these signs, and even after thousands of people claim to believe in him, Jesus refuses to trust them back. If Jesus came to earth to perform miracles, witnessing one is insufficient for him to trust the human heart. The narrative begins in a small town called Cana, in the rolling hills of the Galilee region. Jesus and his disciples are attending a wedding. During the celebration, the wine runs out. In first-century Jewish culture, this was a massive social and financial disaster for the hosts, bringing severe public shame upon the new family. To solve this, Jesus asks the servants to fill 6 large stone water jars. These specific vessels were kept exclusively for strict Old Covenant Jewish purification rituals, washing hands and containers to remain ceremonially clean. This diagram shows the scale of what happens next. Each jar holds 20 to 30 gallons. When Jesus transforms the water into superior wine, he generates between 120 to 180 gallons. The scale of this provision is staggering. This is a deliberate theological statement. By repurposing the vessels used for ritualistic cleansing, Jesus is demonstrating that the era of strict, empty religious routine is being replaced by an era of profound grace and joy. John notes that the disciples saw past the spectacle. They recognized the divine glory behind the action, and their belief deepened. This establishes our baseline for genuine faith. The location shifts to Jerusalem during the Passover feast, a high-stakes, densely populated environment. Jesus arrives at the temple and finds that the religious elite have transformed the outer courts into a lucrative marketplace. It is filled with vendors selling sacrificial animals and money changers profiting off the exchange of currency. Jesus makes a whip out of quartz and clears the entire area. He drives out the livestock, pours out the coins, and overturns the tables of the money changers. The local religious leaders are furious. They immediately confront him, demanding he show them a miraculous sign to prove he has the authority to disrupt their established system. Jesus gives them a cryptic answer: "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The leaders think he is talking about the massive stone architecture standing right in front of them, a building that had been under construction for 46 years. This contrasts what they heard with what he meant. Jesus isn't talking about architecture, but the living temple. His resurrected body will become the new, exclusive meeting place between humanity and God. The physical stone building will be permanently replaced. Both Cana and Jerusalem serve the same purpose. Jesus is dismantling the obsolete, transactional religious systems of the day to install himself at the center. This brings us to the final verses of the chapter. Thousands at the Passover feast witness his actions, see the signs he is doing, and eagerly claim to believe in his name. Yet Jesus refuses to entrust himself to them. He possesses perfect knowledge of human nature. He knows exactly what is in man. This graphic illustrates the difference between these followers. The disciples saw the glory of God and submitted. The crowds simply wanted the benefits and the spectacle. Their interest was weightless. They had no desire to submit to the Savior. Jesus actively rejects this kind of superficial fandom. Witnessing a miracle is meaningless if the heart remains transactional. Throughout John chapter 2, Jesus positions himself as the living replacement for broken, mechanical religious systems, offering an abundance of grace in place of ritual. Are you part of the superficial crowd at Passover? Are you treating God like a vending machine, waiting around for the next spiritual high or blessing? Are you willing to let Jesus bring a whip to your own heart, to turn over the tables and clear out your own transactional demands? True, lasting faith is the act of entrusting yourself entirely to Him.